Hey guys, alright, so I'm going to be recording this just for Friday. It's kind of a more in-depth thing. This is basically what you're going to need to get 60, 70 million points on a Friday. I will do the run at the end so you can kind of fast forward to see what I get. I'm hoping to get another 70 mil run and break my record. That'll give me a 210 million score. So, first I'm just going to look at Lord Masteries real quick. These are the Lord Masteries. You should be going attack instead of Scissor Mastery. I'll get into it a little bit later when I actually start, so I just kind of show it's all really commonsensical stuff, but attack mastery is superior to scissor specialization, so make sure you do that. You definitely want the rock specialization, you definitely want the co-op, and you want HP and defense for the obvious reasons. Arguably, you might be able to, like, I could probably take 2 extra points in attack. I'll try that actually. Just it's my last run, so I will try it. Because it's not that much for me. 1 or 2 points might not be a big deal, but if you're not to high enough level, if you're not at least maybe level 102, level 103, if you're not at least level 103, then don't bother. You should kind of prioritize the defense over the attack. But everybody knows how much defense that they need, so hopefully the run doesn't get destroyed by like a lucky critical from the boss. That would really suck. Alright, so the first thing that really helps today, Gillen and Cleo. Obviously we can't use Moss because we're trying to make super tank also high damage heroes. So this is kind of the ideal build-ish for Kret. Arguably Angel Knight Deathblow is better. Maybe I should try that out. I really just can't at this point in time because I don't have the gear for it myself. I do have a second Angel Knight. I guess I could try it, but I just don't have, like for Musaka, I don't have 3 pieces. I've only got 2 extra pieces. So if I get an extra piece, then maybe I'll put a second one on Musaka, because I do want to have Musaka with the Forgotten Hitter set, just so he can maintain a decent crit rate himself. So generally you want to have your guys in the 70 to 80% crit range, except Lee needs to be around, around where Musaka is right here. Ideally you max out crit with Cleo's passive. Now Gillen's heals are also going to generate attack and crit rate, which is fine. But it is much more ideal to have it all the time, just so you can blast through the early stages faster. The faster you get the early stage, it just trickles down. Not being able to crit until you're able to be healed really hurts your score. Now again, if you have like a 90% crit rate before the heal, you're probably fine. It's just, it's not great. But Musaka is the secondary DPS. Your primary DPS is Kret. Secondary DPS is Musaka. It's not Lee. Lee is just a nice extra. He's the strongest and farthest range, obviously. He's just a nice extra. We will be using double Lee for today. If you are not able to do what I'm about to show you, or for whatever reason you don't have the sets to be able to pull it off, or a way to make kind of things survivable, then do not attempt to do this. You should stick with the single merc Kret strategy. Focus everything on making your Musaka something like what I'm showing here, and just use Moss and Cleo, and your only. Hopefully your Lee can not get killed by the level 2, and just use the Kret merc, and then use Cleo and Moss together. So stick with that strategy. Also just make sure that your Cleo is mostly just defense. Don't make her too strong offensively, because she may end up getting the level 2 boss killed if your Lee is too strong. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, figure out your single Kret merc strategies on your own. It should all be pretty good. Even if you just leave Cleo off trapped behind a swamp somewhere, I think you'd still be pretty good, so she doesn't get the extra attack, and there's really no risk. If you did that, you could have Musaka and then Lee just do the thing, so you wouldn't really. Oh, you kind of need Cleo actually. So sorry, I take that back. You need Cleo to be in that position. So, all right, forget everything I said. Anyway, so this is kind of a general goal what you want from Musaka. Ideally, ideally Musaka does go with the Slime King. If you had another Devil Knight, that would be fine too. Then you could probably put something stronger like a Born Assassin on his 1-star, because then you get a little bit more attack, a little bit more crit, and then the DK gives you just as much attack for 4 stars. So that, like, maybe that would be a little bit better than this. But this does come with a significant amount of crit by itself. It's kind of like the same thing. This is basically a glorified Born Assassin, because it's still a ring on this slot, and it still gives a bunch of crit rates. So you know it's probably about 400 or 500 crit rate more than the Born Assassin set just in total. So just keep that in mind. But ideally, this would be the Born Assassin, and this would be the DK, and then this would be an Angel Knight. And for 2-star and 3-star, Pink Ranger always wins 3-star, and for 2-star, anything that gives 10 to 12% attack, extra curriculum. Like, I want the crit, so I'm using a 2-piece frenzy with the Dasso, so that's just what I'm doing. And of course, you want all your golden potentials, which I am missing boss damage in this, so I'll have to start getting back on top of that. Alright, so Musaka is the secondary DPS. Third DPS is your Lee. Now, obviously, your Lee should look something like this. Now, again, arguably DK, Death Blow for 4-star and 1-star. Now, not everybody's going to have, 5 sets of Death Blow and 5 sets of DK. Only Quoven's going to have that, so that's the thing. Second, High Human. Lee doesn't need Angel Knight level HP, so he's fine. But ideally, you would have something like this or something a little bit different. You probably do need to maintain your Lee with at least a Beast Rain or a Dasso. Ideally, it would be 2-piece Dasso, and then you get a 3rd Pink Ranger set. I don't have a 3rd Pink Ranger, so I can't use it. But that would be kind of the way to go. The other thing that you need to do for your Lee is make sure, since if he doesn't have the Pink Ranger set anyway, you need to make sure that his hit rate is around 17% or more, so he doesn't miss. If your Lee starts missing, you're gonna miss a boss. You won't be able to get into the 70 mil range. You'd be lucky to get the 60 mil range. So that's a thing. Be aware of that. Like, you'd be surprised how, maybe a 1 in 20 chance to miss doesn't seem like much, but trust me, you'll be missing more than 1 in every 20 turns. It's just the way that the game works for some stupid reason. This is what I'm doing. So normally I would get the 10% from time for your shot, well, 12% in the future, but I figure the EC gives me 12%, so that's also fine. I'm thinking maybe switching this to Musaka and then putting the 2-piece frenzy on Lee. But yeah, they're about the same crit rate right now, so I don't think it would be a huge change. But that would just make my Lee a little bit stronger in the beginning, but I don't need it. I don't need it to be any much stronger in the beginning. And again, the Death Blow and DK would be better than the Slime King and the Sunset Sheriff. So those are just things to keep in mind. But if you cannot build 3 heroes with a relatively decent spread like this, then you're not going to be able to do it. That's first and foremost. You won't be able to pull it off. You need 3 heroes that have moderate builds in terms of at least 1 Beast Rain or Dasso. Now your second Lee, your Merc Lee, if you are using this strategy with the double Lee, your Merc Lee should have the regular build. The regular build for all items, but also... they should have the regular build for all items, sorry about that, but also just a DK and slot 4. So they would have their standard build for the Lee. But very few of us are able to do this strategy properly, so that's a very small amount of us even going to be looking for the Super Lee Mercs. Everybody else should be using the Crep Mercs if they're not able to pull it off. This, like I've said it before, I'm just putting this up as kind of a guideline for what you need to be able to kill Boss 3, survive Boss 3, and whatever. It is still possible, too, that you get crit successively on one of the Lees. Very unlikely, but still. So one of the ways to make that as unlikely as possible to happen is on your Cleo, if you can equip 1 Comm Guide set. If you can equip a Comm Guide set on your Cleo, that would be ideal, because she'll be off on the Sigil with a double Elise setup, so she's never going to be attacked. And and as many commander sets as possible, because these give another 4k HP. So whatever you can. So generally, if you're going with a double E, you'll only have 2 commander sets going. You'll have one on Cleo and one on Gillen. If you can make your Gillen strong enough without having any kind of offensive set on 5-star, and you can put another comm guide on Gillen, you're in really good shape. You'd be in very, very, very good shape. I think actually this time I might want to get rid of this. Just gotta check the difference. I know I'm over 100% crit, which I do not need because of Cleo's buff. So see how much I lose here. So yeah, all right. So I think I'm gonna. And how much attack? I was at 38. No, I didn't lose that much. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this off and I'll put it on. Attack. Yeah, I got. All right. For healing, you just need attack. So attack by HP. There we go. Give myself an extra few points for Gillen there. There we go. Yeah, that's not that much different. But for 5-star, if you can get a second comm guide, then you can guarantee that the boss will not crit in the early stages. So that's just a thing. He needs about, between 38 and 40,000 attack, and decent pots to be able to heal perfectly. He should have his heal maxed, and he should also have his heal soul gear, which is his wings, which gives him a very, very decent buff. Also, the attack increase is nice too. But that's all you really need to heal yourself to full every time. Even with 160, 170,000 HP heroes, it should still full heal every single time. But those are basically what you need for support. Now, like I said, if you could somehow make your Gillen just about as strong as this, but on the 5-star slot, you could have the buff set and the buff set, and on the 5-star slot you can sneak in another comm guide, then that would be pretty damn amazing. So go for that. But this is the best I can do. We'll see how good everybody else can do. It'd probably be easier for Jay because he's got a plus 13 commander set. Unfortunately. So he'd be able to get a little bit more attack out of his 3-star slot than most. But he would still need to pull a lot of crit. I think the Pathfinder is still the #1 item for crit on for the pleb heroes on slot 4. So I don't believe there's a better way to get to stack crit rate on this slot. At least not with my gear anyway. Anyway, so that's basically it for gear. Now, other options that you can have if you want to kind of move things around, like my Crut was able to survive with my this 2-piece DK, and then one of my Pathfinder bows, this Pathfinder bow. Sorry, 2-piece Defender of Earth, not DK. So I could repurpose this to another hero, maybe Musaka, and give Musaka the Born Assassin instead. That might be an option, but I'd be losing a few thousand off Crut. So like I find that this has been the best setup for me. I am really thinking about taking the Angel Knight off of Musaka, putting a second, after I get a third piece to my next Angel Knight, put that on Musaka, and then give both of them an Angel Knight build. I think that would be #1. I think that this is with the Death Blow. The Death Blow would give you a better value than the difference you would lose from the 2-piece and necklace over. I'm only using this necklace on this slot because it's got the defense on it. My Angel Knight one does not have defense. And my Crut's defense is fairly low, whereas my Musaka's defense is decent. So that's really it for gear. If you cannot build these 3 heroes fairly evenly and also still very strong, you're kind of up Shit's Creek here, and you should stick to the 2 heroes as best as you can make them, because the stronger the better. Alright, anyway, let's go into the battle, and we'll kind of just sort of talk about some of the little things about today's raid. So I'm going to be using Ripjaw's Lee. I'll just go and give you a quick look at him. Hopefully he hasn't signed in and changed it in the time that I've been on his account to put the DK on his Lee. There we go. This should be the build for the OP Lee Mercs. This is the build. You want the death blow, you want the time for your shot, you want the pink ranger, you want the DK, and then you want the two-piece high human and necklace. This is the perfect Lee build. I wish this had better pots on it, but we can wait until another day for that. This is good ones. Oh yeah, that'll make up for it right there. Yeah, hopefully it still survives. If he just dies, then I'm going to look like terrible shame here. Alright. So the boss only has about a 3% chance to crit us. So if he gets consecutive crits, I'm going to be so upset. But only consecutive crits on the Merkley are going to be a risk of killing it. So here we go. Okay, so Cleo goes off on the sigil to safety. Yelena goes in his little spot trapped in the water. Musaka touches the boss and goes right behind. Your Lee goes in this tile. Very important that your Lee goes in this tile because yours is the one that's going to have the Beast Train or the Dasimir. That way the Merc one who has the standard build will be the one who benefits from Gillen's heal. Kret goes in his normal position, and then of course your Merc Lee goes exactly where I just said. So you should have a full Lord gauge every time you come in. If you don't have a full Lord gauge, don't gamble thinking, well, I'm only 2 away or whatever, some nonsense like that. Just go fill it. It's not worth losing 70 million points because you counted your charges wrong or something like that. Just barely kill the boss, so that's good. That's good value in terms of my gearing. Alright, so I want my 1 lead to get healed by Gillen, and then use the Lord skill just because. Musaka is still mobilized when he uses his thing, but he still does walk in place, so don't have to worry about maybe Musaka having like an Omni-like effect with the old Omni where it would cure the immobilized but it would stay in place. That kind of nonsense doesn't happen. So hopefully Rips, even if Rips Lee gets crit here, it still survives. Yeah, I think it's only consecutive crits that are really a danger. That would look like it would have actually killed him though. Alright, and from here you can just switch to killed shelling and that's it. So, wanted to talk about what I was saying before about the Musakas being your secondary DPS. This is basically a Wednesday-like situation. So on Wednesday we have Moss hitting harder. Oh, you don't want to use combat support next also, by the way, because you want Gillen to want to heal Lee here, so he'll give the buff to your Kret and your Musaka early. Hooray! So you can kind of blow through a couple stages to the boss for the, like, you know, for up until turn like 5 and 6, like you're at boss 5 and 6, so you're like killing the boss like every turn or every other turn, so it's pretty awesome. But Musaka being your secondary DPS is basically like the Moss scenario. So just like Moss on Wednesday, where Moss attacks once with his basic and then co-ops twice from the 2 leads attacking, Musaka fills that same role, and the numbers are actually very similar, except Musaka's way stronger than Moss. So that's just the only difference here. So the Lees hit about the same amount. Now the Lees do take the 25% reduction to their damage because of the type exchange, but they also gain the lava terrain 20% modifier, so it kind of balances out to the same. Right now they're standing on neutral tiles. It works out to be just around the same. I actually think it's in favor of the lava. We'll see what Rips Lee's hitting. Also, since one of your Lees is going to have at least a Dasso or a Beast Drain piece set up somewhere, it is slightly in favor. Even if Musaka was doing as little damage as Moss, it would be still in favor of Musaka, because one of her Lees is a little bit weaker here. So, but I think that Rips Lee is going to be doing probably around 10k. Well, this is a lower defense boss, so maybe 11 or 12k. So let's just see. Yeah, so 11.7. and we're up to boss level, and we're only at boss level 5. That was only on a boss level 5, so we're at 6 now. So he was doing 11,700 ticks, so he's probably going to be doing between 10 and 11k ticks, which is generally what we run around on Wednesday for top level lees per tick. So Moss always hits more than Lee at those ratios, and Musaka's way stronger. So Musaka gets his attack, and then he gets a co-op on both Lees, so that gives him 2 attacks, but he also co-ops on all Krut's attacks also. So Musaka gets 2.5 attacks per round, and each Lee only gets 1. So in the cycle of Lee using his second and his third, he goes second, third, second, third, second, third, whatever. So a 1 second skill, 1 third skill. Musaka will have attacked 5 times. And Musaka's 5 basic attacks, which also buff his attack. He gets an attack buff for 1 turn by using his basic skill, so he always gets his attack increase. He hits effectively 5 times in the time that Lee does 1 cycle. So he ends up doing a crap ton more, which is why you need to have Musaka not only as survivor, but also a decent DPS. So if you can't have him kind of like, you want Krut and Musaka to kind of have the same general build. Like in a perfect world, they would have the exact same build, except Musaka would have the Born Assassin on slot 1, and Krut would have the Death Blow because he's an attack type hero. But sit back and enjoy. Hopefully we break my 200 and almost 7 million record. We get a 210 million, maybe 211 million record. If I got 211 million, that would put my high scores up into the 700 million mark, so that's pretty epic. Or yeah, 700 million. And I think that's all we really need to say about this. For Soul Gears, obviously you want to, at least the Merc Lee has to have his wings maxed. Those are pretty basic things. I think all of our Lees should have both Soul Gears maxed, and every member of the guild by now. I don't think anybody's running without it. Cleo's wings for her Soul Gear, I believe, are the ones that raise her passive crit rate gain. So that's the thing. If you're using the single Krut Merc, Moss's wings give his attack aura from his passive increase. Both Gillen's Soul Gears are useful, because if you use Gillen for anything else or just regular PvE and stuff, his disarm goes up to 85%, so that's pretty good too. But generally his wings are the thing that's most important. And Krut's, only one of Krut's Soul Gears, his wings, I believe, is particularly useful for this, and it's I believe it is his wings. It increases the damage extra he deals with a third skill to a target that's under immobilize. So it just kind of helps a little bit. It doesn't give him, I don't think it's that massive an increase, but it is pretty significant. Now, if you are on track to get 70, well, I should say a 68 to 69 mil, like if depending on what turn you get, 1505, which is how the boss's level is represented, because at level 9 it's 1500 in every stage up above that. Like 10 would be 1501, 11 would be 1502, and so on. But when you get to that stage, depending on how many turns you have left, you'll be able to get a few more million points. So I'm actually able to get it around turn 46 in best case scenario, also with no missing. So, oh, you know what, that's one thing I didn't check out. Oh wait, we don't need to check it out for Rip's Lee, because he's got the, never mind, I'm crazy here. But the hit rates I was thinking of, but the pattern you're going to be wanting to look for in terms of how much damage you're doing, if you want to know if you've done it or not, right around turn 10 or 11 or 12 or so, or if you want to be really safe, wait until turn 20, or maybe just wait until you're at stage 9. You just watch the damage you're doing in the top corner. Basically, the turns that Lee does his third skill, you'll do around 700, just a little bit shy, just a little bit more, 700,000 damage in that turn. And on second skill turn Lee, you'll do about 600,000 damage, just a little bit more, maybe 610. So let's just watch here. Alright, so it's 160,400, 160,400,000. So we should be, this is an odd number turn, so we should be going up to 161 million 100,000-ish. It'll probably just be a little bit shy. Oh, we got a boss kill, so it's not going to represent properly. Okay, we'll just do it from... Oh, we didn't. Oh, so we actually got 20,000 more. Can't believe the boss lived. 4K. Oh, that blows. If only I had a few more charges for kill chilling. Alright, we'll wait until the next even turn to show that. But if I'm getting the 700,000 the one way, I'm definitely getting the 600,000 the other way. I just know the numbers. So this will be another 70 million point run. I know that I've broken my record. Hooray! You're killing the boss every 5.5 turns at this point also. Alright, even turn. So let's check it out. 166.5, we'll call it. So we need 167.1. I'll probably be officially quitting Guild Raid after maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the new set item balances. I just want to see if I'm able to kill the next stage of boss for each map. And if I am, then I think that would bring my high scores basically up another 100 million in total. Depending on how well I can do on Saturdays. I don't think I'm going to do very much better than I have on Wednesday. I got a 60 million clear. I heard that somebody in Reddit got a 90 million clear, which is insane. He got not like a single run, but he had 90 million. He did 90 million points on that day. It's basically a double E day. That kind of disarm RNG is epic. It's like when I believe it was Velas got the 50 million point run. that was probably the most epic thing that ever happened on a Wednesday. But I don't think I'm, next level lucky. I just think I'm regular lucky. So my 60 million score, I'm very impressed with myself with the 60 million score, so I'm happy with that. Now for Saturday, if I can get a 60 million score on that day, not 2 turn disarm, it's 1 turn stun, so not all that likely, but I think I can make maybe aim for 50 million would be, I think, a good mark. And for Sunday, I believe that I can get 132 million. If not, I haven't been able to have a perfect Sunday yet. I've always screwed some stupid thing up and messed it up. But I am able to survive level 9 with my bell, which means that so long as I have the damage, I can keep going, which I can generally kind of turn Sunday into a Friday like scenario if I can perfect it. I just don't think that I think that I'm kind of missing something huge to make that happen, so it's just not practical. But if I can get a 44 million to 50 million clear range per day on Sunday, then that would be it. I think with the buffs I could probably get 50 million clear at my best. If I can do that 3 times just for my high score, then I'll easily be able to break 800 million points for Guild Raid total scores. So that's awesome. I wonder what Hee Hee Paul's records are. Ah man, I can't believe the 2 times speed doesn't work in Guild Raid. Like, this is the reason. Like, I think Nexon just doesn't read why people make suggestions to the game. Like, obviously 2 times speed, most of the people with agreements against it were not just people auto farming and things like that. That's the only people that they're appeasing, people who are just looking for faster auto farm. But those people generally want instant clear. They don't want a 1/2 extra speed modifier. The times 2 modifier would have helped the most for Guild Raid, for people not being able to finish on time based off different circumstances in their life and things like that. To be able to sign in a little bit later, but still be able to get all 3 of your runs, and that's the big issue with Guild Raid. Now, if Nexon thought a little bit more about the design of their maps and didn't make it so easy for us to exploit them, then maybe it wouldn't be an issue. Maybe if we were only able, if we didn't have 50-turn succession strategies that were possible, or maybe even if boss level 9 could grow into boss level 10, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems for a lot of the things that we have for time anyway. Because if it was, it's cool to be able to get into the, to have a day where I can score over 200 million points. It's really cool that I can score over 200 million points in a day. But is it necessary? I don't know. I think it really kind of screws up some of the other days. If all the days were somewhat balanced in terms of what it was, then every day would have an equal weight. But Friday is about as important as not screw up a run as 2 of the other Lee days put together. So it's, well, for some people. Not quite 2 Lee days, unless maybe you count Sunday as one of the Lee days, because then it's very, very dependent based on how strong somebody's able to make their bell, or if they have to use the Merc Bell strategy, they're really not able to put up as much DPS. So it's, anyway, rambling here, but there's just stuff. I had a strategy with Rage, but it doesn't always work on BlueStacks. I don't know why, but if you just build the formation normally, instead of have Cleo, you have Rage, you can make that work. It's just sometimes the boss on BlueStacks specifically will walk around and like he'll go for direction advantage when he uses his torpedo skill, and he won't launch himself onto the sigil. I don't know why that is. I had it working on my phone, on my Smurf account, and I was like, oh, awesome, this is great. And then I went to go try it out on BlueStacks, and then it didn't work. So I don't know what's up with that. And just because I don't think that it's gonna be that great or that useful, I really just don't want to work on it. Though if we could replace Musaka with Rage, that would be legendary. I had 2 different formations. One, we lost Lee. But it would work every time. Unfortunately, we would have to lose the Lee though, and the other one we would have just have a single Lee being replaced with. So we would keep Cleo, but we would replace one of the Lees with Rage, and then there's 3 heroes that are getting healed instead of 2. But we were able to have obviously Rage would. Attacking the boss here would be also co-oping, where Lee can't co-op here. So it would have been a really significant bonus. But anyway, it's just really not that practical right yet. Reddit probably has a Rage strategy, but like I said, for whatever reason, when I tried the one method on BlueStacks, the boss always acted differently, so it is somewhat strange. There are some weird things that have happened on BlueStacks and Guild Raid. Like on Wednesday, for example, if Moss moves to heal a unit and then walks back over into the boss's range, and then the boss dies and it pushes Moss back, there are times where Moss, for whatever reason, will be attracted to that tile that he was blown back off of, like a magnet, and then he'll walk back there and the boss will kill him. And it also sucks in Lily for some reason, and Lily will walk in range, and then will also get killed. It's weird, like weird little things that they don't happen to most people. They just shouldn't happen in general, but they have happened to me, so I'm really annoyed that when it has happened. Alright, so we're at 1504, I believe. Yeah, 3.65 million. We got 8 turns, and we're doing 600, 700, 600, 700. So we should be getting this down at turn 47 or so. Wish Beast Rain would go on sale with Pink Ranger. Yeah, so we are looking like we're going to stretch into turn 47 here. So almost a turn 46 kill, which would be cool, because then that would only be about 2 turns away from being able to get into 1506. Yeah, so many phone calls. Yeah, so let's see. So we're not, wait, 48, 49, and 50. It looks like we might even get it to 2. I think we might just barely get to 211. That would be nice. Yeah, looks like 700, 600. If you're on your second or first run, then you would turn your Lord Gauge off at turn 48, so you don't have to go in charge. Just a little side note there. Should be obvious, but might as well mention it. Try to mention everything else here. $211 million. And I am only 1.2 million HP away from getting to 1506, so it looks like I will be able to break that as soon as the new buffs come out for the other sets. Alright, now I get to find out if breaking 200 million points today actually hurts you and doesn't let you get your capsule again. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed.